Yeah, I'm good, mate. Looking forward to getting my hair cut more than anything this weekend when once we can again. Not something that bothers you, mate, obviously, but
Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Ante Up. It's me, David Cheltenham, and him, Matt Holmes. Again, I'm going to be doing the ticker bar for the British entries for this weekend. Friday to Monday, I think I've gone through. And then the Irish entries, there is some good stuff at Clonmel on Thursday, but I've actually just gone for Saturday and Sunday's Irish ones listed below. So notable names, trying to jazz things up. But we'll keep with the same sort of format. We're going to review what's happened last weekend, talk about our thoughts, especially from Antepost perspective. Then we're going to talk about the weekend coming up, but in and around that point, we're going to bombshell the selections we're going to put up this particular week. It will just be one selection per man, following in line with what the other show is doing. So, Matt, first up, how are you doing? And where should we start from last weekend?
yeah, I'm good, mate. Looking forward to getting my hair cut more than anything this weekend when once we can again. Not something that bothers you, mate, obviously, but yeah, just looking forward to the racing again as always.
Yeah, so there was obviously some decent stuff last weekend. Most notably me cutting my hair, obviously. Yeah. But of the actual horse racing action, this is a horse racing based show. People don't want to hear our gags. They want to know, where should we start from last weekend?
You probably got to say Time Hill beating Paisley Park on the Friday is a good place to start. Yeah, not the best for your selection on Paisley Park, but I think Time Hill's got to be the one to take out of it, hasn't he? They went really slowly to start with, and I do think a proper gallop then Paisley Park might have got nearer. He was getting weight as well, wanted Time Hill, so I wouldn't write off Paisley Park yet, but Time Hill was really impressive, to be honest with you. I don't know what you think, Dave.
Yeah, I was similar. I said before when I was putting him up that I'd struggle to fancy Paisley Park for a stayers if he got beat in that race. And I know we can all sit there after and think, oh, well, he might have needed the run. Maybe they weren't too high on him. Tactically, they went slow to begin with, all those bits and pieces, which are all like fair and valid points. But he has now shortened up. So the point of putting him up when I put him up was, I think he's going to win that race. Obviously, he didn't. The fact that he's got beaten and he's run close enough, he's still shortened up. We've got him on the team sheet, and I'm not saying that he can't reverse that form with Time Hill. It'll be really interesting because they'll go up against each other at Ascot in the long walk. They'll probably go up against each other in the Cleve hurdle, and then it will come the stayers. So it could be like Time Hill wins all three of those, and then we almost feel like we know what we're talking about when it comes to the stayers. Paisley could get his own back at somewhere like Ascot because Time Hill's not been there. Then the roles could be reversed at Cheltenham, and then we're going in there with like a 2-1 battle or whatever. I just think Time Hill, like you're saying, is the one to take out the race. He was ultra impressive, really. And I honestly thought 3 furlongs out, a couple of flights left to jump, I thought Paisley Park's going to win this. I was adamant he was going to go past. He went past McFabulous as I was expecting him to go past Time Hill. There's no ingenuity or anything about him with Paisley. I just don't think that he was as good as Time Hill was on that day. And a stronger gallop, all those sort of things, I just think they're only going to suit Time Hill as much as they'll suit Paisley. So, unfortunately, Time Hill is the one to beat. For the purpose of this show, obviously, we've got Paisley up there. He's one on the team sheet, so that's fine with me. I think Time Hill as well was when Philip Hobbs said over the summer that they were going to keep him over hurdles for another season. I suppose a few people would have got stuck into Antepost then. So hopefully from a portfolio perspective of ongoing punters, people have got some cover in there as well. How McFabulous went off that short, I don't know, but that's a discussion for another day. Also at Newbury, Flint Sack with bubble burst. See you later, bye-bye. That's why when you see horses like that, Antepost being nibbled before they've run in a race, doesn't mean you've got to start steaming into him. You've got to, again, try and appreciate what the value could be on him. And he was 25 to 1, 33s in the summer. If you wanted to be on Flint Sack, that's when you should have backed him. He's about the same price now after his bubble burst in, so you could cash out your bets after he gets swamped. All about time in this game. What else happened at Newbury? Let's not talk about the Ladbroke Trophy with Danny Whizbang. He's been scratched, though, from the Welsh National, so he saved me a few quid from following him in there. Saturday, Marie's Rock, the selection that I put up. So Marie's Rock couldn't jump, was pants. There's no getting away from it. Tell you what's funny this year at Newbury, all the meetings that we've seen so far, there's been so many horses like far too keen. Mm-hmm. So there's a pace issue at Newbury, just full stop at the moment. Whether that's a red herring and it's not really anything about it, I don't know, but it wouldn't have suited the likes of her. She's gone out to a standout 50 to 1 with Betfair. She's still 25, 28 with others. We've put her in at 25s. I still think she'll go to that race. She's probably not going to go off the 50s poke. She might go off around about the price. And as much as she's doubled and it's annoying and all that sort of stuff, she was a 25 poke to begin with. She had a 4% chance before the race. She's got a 2% chance now. So as much as I got it wrong, it don't matter, because Next Destination, he was ultra impressive, wasn't he? And I know, like, National Hunt Chase was the race that I thought he should go for, and I put him up for the any race market because there's conflict of where he might go. Paul Nicholls has talked about him basically saying RSA is the way that he's leaning towards. They're going to test him, and because he's fragile and they want to take him back for a Hennessy next year, I think if they're minding him and he's a fragile horse, maybe they don't want to put him through the attrition of a National Hunt Chase. And as much as I'd fancy him more in a National Hunt Chase because the class element should show, we've got to bet if he goes to an RSA, and who's to say that he won't carry on improving. Like, I've warbled too much. Anything else from Newbury to go on, or anything you want to pick up from what I've waffled about?
No, nothing else from Newbury. Next Destination I thought was impressive. I still, like I say, I'd rather see him in the National Hunt Chase as well. I'm not sure if he's quite good enough for an RSA. He'll be going at the finish though. That's the one thing you'll see with Next Destination. He'll stay as well as any of the others. So yeah, no, decent pick that one, Dave.
Thank you. And then one thing I will say just before we move on from Newbury, Milkwood only went up £1 for his run in the Jerry Fielding where he had lots of trouble and stayed on. That's Welsh Champion hurdle form. Everything's working in and around it. The £1 rise that he's got will be manageable. Wherever Milkwood goes next time up, there'll be some valuable handicaps up. I think he'll be interesting. Not really an anti-up thing for Cheltenham, but hey, I said it anyway. If you guys are watching, you get the 3 little bits. What else happened over here? Newcastle, Epitaph. Go. Tell me about her. I didn't watch it.
Absolutely unbelievable, I thought. I think the way she cruised up, if you was a backer, which I'm not, unfortunately, again, 2 years in a row, you'd be a little bit concerned how late Aidan Coleman left it, but I don't see anything beating her, mate, in the champion hurdle. I really don't. I think it's going to be a real struggle to see anything beat her. I really do. Yeah,
she does look class, doesn't she? And it's like the acceleration, those turbo boosts, all those bits and pieces. I will just try and play it down slightly, just because I like to play it down. The race fell apart from the start, didn't it? I didn't watch the race. I caught the clip of her at the end and thought, Jesus. Then I saw what happened at the start. And I know that wouldn't have benefited anyone in the race, and it wouldn't have necessarily been detrimental to anyone in the race. But we lost a little bit of depth in there, maybe through Silver Streak as well. She still would have done the same, I think. She still would have won. We're going to learn more about her when she steps up and goes against something better. But because the British Challenge is so weak, we're not going to find out anything until she goes up against the Irish come March. Be interesting for what happens with them over there. We'll obviously come on to Honeysuckle when we talk about the weekend stuff. But just to name drop her now, thinking forward towards like an Irish champion hurdle, you could get the likes of St. Wat, Abracadabras and Honeysuckle smashing each other over there. So be interesting how the picture picks up. But yeah, you are right. She looks a fairly good thing in a champion hurdle, to be fair. I think she's plenty short enough now.
Oh, she's short enough now. Her hurdling's improved, right? She's so slick over him, mate. I don't know. I couldn't see Honeysuckle beating her every 2 miles, like they're talking about champion hurdle for Honeysuckle.
No, she looks like, you can't say bomb-proof, but the ones that we're trying to take her on with have got enough chinks in them that she's the most solid option in the champion hurdle, and she's priced accordingly, isn't she? So we talked about some Irish stuff there. Who else went off in Ireland?
In Ireland, who else did we have? Monkfish was obviously very good. The Albert Bartlett form looks absolutely rock solid now, doesn't it? The one, I suppose, if you was trying to crab it, you'd say his nearest market rivals. Sam's Profile is real careful at his obstacles, isn't he? And Dale Kerr can't jump at all. So he probably didn't have to do a lot to win. But yeah, it was an impressive debut, wasn't it, from Monkfish?
Yeah, looks class, doesn't he? And then I suppose, was there anything else on the Saturday?
Concertista was in.
Yeah, so she's done us a favour, isn't she?
Yeah. That's looks good for Benny Jadu going for the mare's chase. So yeah, they might leave Concertista to take Honeysuckle on and Benny in the mare's chase, hopefully. But yeah,
and there has been some support for Benny. She's now clear favourite, even though she's still a 6-1 poke. And again, the point of putting up the selection when we put it up was that we could foresee other horses running, and that basically she's not going to come out until probably the turn of the year. And then at that point, when she comes out, if she entered in a chase race, we know she's going to be really short. She could even be in a hurdle race. Doesn't mean she's definitely not going for the chase race. But there's months before we're going to see her. But there's so much else going on that, like you say, Concertista's gone in there. Looks like probably Willie Mullins' chance to go in the mares anyway. So it just means that her price was going to keep shortening. So that was good for us. Honeysuckle we touched on. Were you impressed with her or disappointed or what?
I didn't really know what to think. She got it done, didn't she? But I wasn't blown away by her this year, like I was last year. I don't know. You want to see her again, don't you? I definitely don't think she'd have a chance in the champion hurdle. I think that needs to be knocked on the head. I mean, maybe last year if she'd have gone, you'd be thinking she might have a chance because it looked. I know Epitaph come out since and looked a good thing, but last year would have been the time to go, wouldn't it? When it didn't look like there was any standout in that race. But yeah, I think she'd be obviously a solid one in the mare's hurdle, but not a champion.
Yeah. And I think this was touched on as well. I think it might have been in the comments about the price. If I had fancy Benny DG for the mare's chase, then Honeysuckle, the price that she is, should be good value. But I touched on again that the route that they're going to potentially go down and the golf in prices, Honeysuckle probably needs to get beat in the Irish Champion Hurdle to definitely go in the mare's hurdle. I think she'll go in the mare's hurdle even if she won it because she potentially wouldn't be good enough. But she could really be going to Cheltenham off the back of a defeat, or at least getting beat at some point in the season, or it could just be a really hard race. She is the one to beat in the mare's hurdle. But yeah, I wasn't too taken with her and I come back from. But I think it's too early to judge her on that. Just let her carry on. She won, didn't she? Mm-hmm. Envoy, he only just about got it done, didn't he?
Just what else do you say about him? He's just he'll bolt up. He'll bolt up in the marsh.
He'd have won the marsh last year, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's ready to jump yonks ago. He looks a complete and utter weapon, doesn't he? No point dwelling on him, but everyone knows that, don't they? Yeah. What else happened? Bally Adam, your boy.
My boy, yeah, got the job done. I wasn't blown away, but he got the job done. I think if he'd jumped the last better, he'd have won a lot more comfortably. And I think it was a lot cosier than it actually looked. Ungolo was finishing strongly as well. You were straight on to me, weren't you? That Ungolo was on to take out that race. But Bally Adam, yeah, pleased with what he did in the end. I think he's got a lot more under the cage there.
Absolutely. And again, from a timing perspective, we obviously put this out Wednesday, it got published, but Tuesday we recorded it. Now, She Wears It Well had got backed in for the Royal Bond. I don't know, I think she might have got like a knock or something, nothing serious, but put her out of the race. So basically, the price that you got for the Royal Bond and any race at 12-1, on the day, it was Bally Adam and the Supreme at 11-1. So not only was it a point shorter, it was a specific race. So not saying that we don't think he might not go Supreme, he might go Bally or whatever, but the fact that you've got the any race covered, smart boy. Then the only other one really to talk about on the Sunday is the juvenile that the show that shall not be named have put up.
Zana here, yeah. Really,
take it away.
Really, really good, mate. Yeah, looks a big horse, doesn't he? But he jumps so well. Absolutely cruised away. Yeah, was he now 6-1, something like that for the Triumph Hurdle? It's a bit short this far out for me, but yeah. See what else comes out of the Triumph Hurdle, but he's the one they've all got to shoot at. Yeah,
and he was another one, again, from forums and talk over the sort of late summery period. I think a few people have got some bigger slips on him, haven't they? I don't really like to get stuck into the Triumph too far out, which puts me off some of these ones at bigger prices. Then when they start to shorten in price, it is like encouraging to go in. Like all the Time boys are going mad about him, aren't they? But he's definitely, like you say, the one to aim at for the time being, but I don't know. There's a couple of other ones at bigger prices that will be out soon enough that might be making an appearance on the show. Keep tuned for next week when I put up a Triumph Hurdle tip. Before we get on to 2 weeks from now and go too far ahead, I reckon we're ready to bang in with this week's selection, mate.
Yeah.
I feel like because it's Christmas, I should have got the tree involved. I should have got a box. Should have got a present. But Matt and I discuss this literally after Sunday's race, and Monday we might, maybe Sunday night or maybe Monday, we'll message him. What do you fancy this week? Have you got any ideas of what you're going to do? Yada, yada, yada. We like to be methodical about this, and we mentioned earlier on that we had a few in our armoury. Basically, I feel like before this weekend started, I had only one horse in my mind. After the weekend, I only had one horse in my mind. I messaged Matt. He also said that he only had one horse in his mind. So let's do another little reveal. For this week's selection, it is going to be Altior. Yes, Altior. Boom. I'm going to let Matt talk about this because you guys know I like to waffles. Basically, the king is going on the team sheet. Matt, tell us how he's going in, why he's going in, and the rest, please.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about him for a few weeks, haven't we? And that we probably both wanted him on the team sheet, but it was about the timing of when to get him on. You don't need to say a lot about why he needs to be on the team sheet. He's all right. He's going to be 11 come the festival, but his record speaks for itself. He's only been beaten once over obstacles, and that was over the Surname's Optimum trip on his optimum conditions. So there's no reason why to think that that's any detriment to Altior that he got beaten over that trip. We've got no reason to think he's in decline as of yet. The reason we didn't put him up before probably was because it's about timing to get him on the team sheet, isn't it? We wanted to wait until this week because obviously we know he's definitely going to be running. We're slightly concerned the ground might be good, won't we? And he might get pulled, but obviously it looks like the ground's going to be fine for him. What we're actually going to do is put him up for the Tingle Creek and Queen Mother double at 14-1, which was bigger previously. We've seen it at sort of 25-1, didn't we, Dave, a few weeks back? But we just think now's the optimum time to put him up with the race being this week, and yeah, that's the way we're going to go.
Superb. So, as Matt touched on there, we've talked about it for a few weeks. In fairness, before we even agreed to do the show, or I asked Matt to be on, begged him to be on, this was like one of Matt's "this is a good thing" and I was looking at Altior from a Tingle Creek angle, thinking it was 7-2 at the time. How is he a 7-2 poke? Even if Defy won the Schloer and got there, there'd be 6-4 joints at worst. I could see it. So I just thought Tingle Creek, I'm going to start steaming him to a bit. Now the double that was priced up was 25-1. And from an odds rolling up perspective, you've got to think, if this horse wins, what's the likely price that they're going to go into? So even at the time then, I said, look, he's a 7-2 poke to win the Tingle Creek. What's he going to go into? Probably a 4-1 shot, because obviously big boy Shacon's still there. So I thought if that happens, the double price is about 21.5-1. So the 25-1 that we're getting boosted is good, but it's not like a monster scream out value thing. I think the best value back then was backing him for the Tingle Creek, which I've done in abundance. So I'm putting even more of a mockers on it this time. Now the price wise, he's a 4-5 poke to win the Tingle Creek on Saturday. He's a 7-1 poke to win the Champion Chase. Now, when we were talking about at the beginning, he was only an 8-1 poke. So he's moved in 1 point from the Champion Chase market. He is short with other bookies, but that double itself would pay 13.4-1. So 13.5-1 if you could get the 4-5 Saturday and his top price to win the Queen Mother. Now, we know related doubles, that won't happen. So the actual fact we were saying he's going to go down to a 4-1 poke means you'd be getting 8-1 the double. So we're getting offered now with Bet365 and Sky Bet 14-1 about a price that I think's an 8-1 poke, given the fact that when he wins, related double, etc., etc. So from a value perspective, we would have been getting about 20% extra value on the odds that it was before, whereas now we're going to get about 33 to 40% better value. I have got the numbers and jargon a bit below, but basically it's better value to do it now. The big elephant in the room isn't just me, it is Chacon Poursoir running in the Hilly Way this weekend as well, because we don't 100% know that he's definitely going to turn up. It's like the horse that's elusive, isn't he? But I think he will. It's only a minor thing last season at Stonebrew. So looking at the Hilly Way entrance as well, so this sort of brings us on to looking at this weekend's racing. Looks a pretty cheap, weak, crappy penalty kick renewal for him. I know people are slagging off the Tingle Creek, and the Tingle Creek is a much better race than the Hilly Way Chase would be, but both horses have got pretty much penalty kicks. Chacon Poursoir looks even easier of a penalty kick. So from the Queen Mother Antepost perspective, Chacon Poursoir's 4-1 top prize, or maybe 9-2. He'll go into probably 6-4, 2-1 poke after he bolts up in a Hilly Way, I think. Altior, like I say, is probably going to go down to about 4-1 poke, because he still will be that 11-year-old. So rather than putting up Altior just Antepost, the double is the time to do it. We'll get the feedback from you guys of what you think of these enhanced doubles and all those bits and pieces. The thing is, they're available to use, so use them. Why not? I feel like that's covered enough about the selection. I don't want to just keep going over and over and over it, but from a value perspective, lots of people could say, oh, Altior's going to win the Tingle Creek. Lots of people could say, I fancy him in the Champion Chase. We're trying to time it right for you. It doesn't mean we're always going to get it right, but obviously, if we put it up at the beginning of the episode of the series, Defy could have won, and then the value of the 25-1, as I said, the extra price we get on there, doesn't mean we wouldn't fancy Altior, and doesn't mean it wouldn't have been good value, but it wasn't the right time to do it. Much as we wanted to actually put it up first week, we've sort of held our time, and it's paid dividends, because you've only lost 1 point in the Antepost market, and although we've lost 11 points in the 25-1 bit, We've lost a massive challenger in Defi anyway. We know the ground's fine for him. We know he's going to go there. It's just a much better bet now. So that's the way that we're playing it this week. Obviously, we've touched on the Hilly Way this weekend. So the 2 mile champion chase division is going to get some answers made in it. Also, we're going to see Min going the John Durkin. There's lots of other horses that could be going in and around him. Sam Crow, Mellon doubly entered, Alaho's doubly entered. What are you making of the weekend stuff? Because I feel like the only race in Britain I really care about is Tingle Creek. Everything else is a couple of handicaps that we have interesting horses in. Coconut Splash, Mr. Coffee, FYI. And then, even at Aintree, Many Clouds, Chase, Native River's probably going to slap up Santini. Not going to really be a clue or anything because Native River will be Grand National bound and Santini will be Gold Cup bound. I don't feel there's too much information out there for what we're looking for. But Ireland, there could be some good bits.
Yeah. I'm
stopping talking now. You go. What's up for the weekend, mate? What are you excited about? What do you think we should be paying attention to?
Yeah, bar the John Durkin that you've mentioned, the Hilly Way. I'm excited to see hopefully the big getaway in a beginner's chase.
Oh, yeah.
Over 2 mile 4. Hopefully, finally get to see him because I think he's going to be a beast. I think he hopefully goes down the RSA route. But yeah, and then there's Grade 3 novice chase as well, and with Andy Dufresne, Easy Work, Felix Dejiol entered. So yeah, there's a few bits kicking about, but like I said, the big races probably are penalty kicks for the champion chase contenders.
And then the race that you've mentioned there as well with that Grade 3 chase, it's literally Andy Dufresne in it, Gordon Elliott, JP. The rest is just Gigginstown lots. Easy Work's also got entries up at over the weekend as well. So there's probably some information to be found over the weekend for these horses that are going out. And obviously, when we're reviewing it, it'll be more important then. But I think from like an Antepost perspective, there's not really too many horses that I'll be thinking, quick, get them on your team sheet before they run this weekend. The big getaway that Matt's already mentioned, he put up last week, I think it was, or maybe the week before.
I think, yeah.
It's already on the team sheet anyway, but he's obviously hopefully going to be out one of those 2 races this weekend. So again, he would be one that we'd be interested in. If he wasn't already put up by Matt, he would be putting up this week. But he's already on. You don't need to worry. So this week, quite straightforward, just the one selection, and it's a communal. We've both agreed on it. We've given you our thoughts for last weekend. Well, obviously, this weekend there is some big action coming up. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens. From a betting perspective for us, we want Altior to hack up and we want Chacun Poursoir to either not run or Chacun Poursoir to get beat. If he gets beat in that piece of pish race, then he's gone. But what I think is more likely to happen is they're both going to win and they're both going to win well. Obviously, horror shower of expletive for us would be Altior gets done, Chacun Poursoir hacks up, because even if he doesn't win the Tingle Creek Saturday, the bet's dead, isn't it? But we've factored that in with the prices, all those bits and pieces. Hope you guys agree with what we've said there. One thing, I should have done this at the beginning, was Harry asked a question a bit earlier on, and I said that I'd cover it in tonight's episode. I think the general vibe of it was the value in Antepost punting. Do we feel like it's gone a little bit now because more people are doing it, et cetera, et cetera? So Matt, while I get the actual comment up so I know what I'm talking about properly, what are your thoughts on Antepost punting? Do you feel for the few years that you've been doing it, it does feel like there's less value this year? The bookies are shortening them a lot sooner, or do you feel it's the same, or nah?
They probably are quick to shorten things out. They don't even have to be that impressive now, and they'll shorten it up. It doesn't put me off, though, to be honest with you, especially if you've still got cash out tools and things like that to use. You can always rejig your position, back more than one in each race, things like that. So, and I just love it, mate, to be honest with you. It keeps you interested all year round, which you might not always necessarily see something you want to bet on that weekend, but you've always got your mind on Cheltenham Festival. And yeah, no, I absolutely love it, mate.
Yeah, superb. And I think that's the reality of why the Antepost punting is. It's good for profit, and it's just so good for discipline as well. Because if you're just looking at race cards every weekend and seeing these big names coming out, like Champion, like even this weekend, the Altiors, the Chacun Poursoirs, and they're going to be going off short prices, you get more tempted to think, right, immediate, what returns can I get this weekend? Well, they're both going to win. Let's whack them in a short price double, all those bits and pieces. But they're like disaster bets in the long term, that if you keep betting all the time, horses aren't always going to win, etc., etc. You want to be as limited and as disciplined as you can be. So by having that side focus of the Antepost betting, it does do us a favour week in, week out. I've got it up in here. So it is basically Harry saying that, is it too many people punting Antepost and betting them well? I feel like more than anything, Harry, that the years that I've been doing it, you'll have ebbs and flows of how things go. So across the summer, if you were to interview or ask 100 anti-post punters, the horses they want to get on their team sheet, you'd have, I don't know, if like the same 80% of selections where everyone's got them on their radars for certain races. Shishkin, Envoy, even Epitaph. I mean, I know some people had Goshen on there, but they wouldn't have been interviewed. Monkfish for an RSA, it's like I feel like it's like more the obvious ones, and all that's happened is the obvious ones have gone well, and it does happen from time to time. And I mean, the bookies can't do anything other than keep shorting them, because if the people like them and they're winning, you know, they're going to keep getting hammered up. And then especially this far up, people love getting stuck into short price multis, which I'm dead against. And if you like, I said this in an anti-post video that I put up a long time ago, talk about Shishkin, saying he was 4-1, get him on your team sheet now. I know people are reluctant to do it because he's 4-1, it seems short, anti-post. But when he gets to now and he's a 5-4 poke and everyone's sticking him in doubles, you're then running the risk that you've got 2 horses to get there, you've got 2 races to win, just to get the same price as you could have got if you had not been stubborn and just got stuck in when you wanted to get stuck in. So, yeah, I think there probably are more people betting anti-post well, but I also think there's a lot of idiot punters out there with the anti-post betting that don't understand it so well, that throw silly bets out there, don't really understand even getting the top price with bookmakers, having the accounts of different bookies. Now, I know it's not always as easy as that. I have to ask friends, family sometimes to put bets on, but you know, there's a level of effort you could put in there. So while there are more people that are good at anti-post punting, hopefully some people that have learned some stuff from what we put out there, I do think there's just as many idiots as well. So Harry, you'll notice it more and more. The more years that you do it, there'll be periods where it goes well, there'll be periods where it doesn't go so well. And I mean, there probably are a couple that I've just forgotten off the top of my head, but we haven't had any like bad boy injury blows so far this season yet, even pre-season where horses aren't going to make it and such like that. So we know it's probably inevitable at some point something big's going to drop about horses. And I touched on it in another video where a few years ago, a friend of mine asked me to give him 2 horses to back for the Cheltenham Festival that were absolute banker double. And I said Forheen, Duvan, and neither of them made it to the festival. And that was in Christmas I talked about it. So there's a long way to go, but just try and get in on the horses at the right times, because if you're not backing them at the bigger prices at the right time because you feel like they're probably too short, then they haven't done enough, then you'll end up backing them at an even shorter price, putting more money on, and then it becomes rookie. And sometimes as well, like, you just have to admit that you've missed a horse and you have to just let it go. Doesn't mean you have to necessarily look for alternatives to take it on. There's 28 races at the festival. There's plenty of opportunities to get stuck in. So something like an Epitaph, if you haven't got into her, then maybe miss the boat. Don't just go searching for something else for the sake of it, especially now that the ones that are likely to compete have already been shortened up. I've waffled plenty there. Matt, is there any closing final thought before I end this video and try and get some sleep?
No, mate, I think you've covered everything. Waffled on long enough, like you said. That's it, all done. Bedtime.
Superb. So we'll be back next week for our selections. We'll see what the other show do in terms of how many they're going to put up. Not that we were running dry of selections, but we're now reaching the point where some of the ones that we've had backed up have been used up. I've got a couple on the back burner. I told you I've got a Triumph tip that's coming up in a couple of weeks or next week. Just need to look at the fixture list to see when it'll be going out. But yes, we've got a few in the pipeline, and then it will get near Christmas time. And boy, Christ, when it gets to Christmas week, Boxing Day, St. Stephen's Day, Limerick, Leopardstown, Kempton, like, it's filthy. And that is the point where we're going to be coming in thick and fast. So we'll obviously just keep in line with what the other guys are doing in terms of when we're putting them up, but I'm sure we'll have selections of plenty in and around the festive period. And that's where, I'll say it in advance, it's going to be tricky to really soak up the prices on it, because there will be good racing on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whereas normally we just look at the big races on a Saturday and a Sunday. Recording this as early as we do, we get to capture them before they run, before the prices get smashed up, hopefully. So in and around Christmas, it'll be slightly different, but we'll just take it as it comes. We'll do it as it is. And if we need to, for the people, we might put something out at inconsistent times just to help you guys out. But if you don't just subscribe, because we've only got, I think 30% of the viewers have subscribed. So the other 70% of you that are watching this, and especially if you've lasted this long, which none of you have, but just click subscribe. Once I get to 1,000 subscribers, I can do some sick bad boy live stuff, which means that the world gets more of me. So subscribe, like, comment below, that'll be good. And yeah, we'll put the final selections in total up somewhere on the screen, and we'll see you another time. Thank you very much.